Hello guys, Rollback1 here, coming at you with a new Yu-Gi-Oh video with Charmander in the background as always. And in today's Yu-Gi-Oh video, I am coming at you with my 4th place Performapal Magicians, Pepe, Pendulum Magicians, whatever you want to call this, Pendulum deck. And guys, I am so happy to be bringing you a Pendulum deck after such a long time, because yes, I still don't think the deck is the most insane without, like, obviously, well, all the Electromite and all the other Pendulum stuff that's still on the list, like Kieran, but nonetheless, Monkey Board coming to 1 does bring the deck up quite a few notches. And seeing as I almost, broke out into tears after seeing Monkey Board come back to 1, because it just holds such a dear place in my heart, being that Pendulum I played for such a long time, and back in the day I even topped Nats. My first Nats that I topped as well was just, I did it with Pendulum, that I had to take it to locals this weekend to see how I could do with it. And honestly, I went X1-1, so I went 3 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw. And every match felt like it was very good. Every match it felt like it was very strong. And I could have done a lot in a lot of the games. Like, there was the last round, I felt like there was 50-50s in some of it, and then there was game 2 which I just kind of lost because I was a bit scared of hand traps, and I really shouldn't have been. But if I didn't play around the hand traps, I would have probably lost that match regardless. But I really do think that this deck performed very well throughout the entire tournament. Like, I did really well. Like, round 1 was against Altergeist, I drew with them. Game 1 lasted like 32 minutes, and then we went into game 2, I dealt damage and we went into time. Round 2 was against Live Twins, that was 3 games. Game 1, I just side-blocked him. Game 2, he won, and then game 3, just went into time again. Like, there's a lot of combos and we kept going back and forth. Round 3 was against Sky Strikers, and game 1, I just got battered. He opened everything to beat me and I just couldn't really do anything. Game 2, I secret villaged him. Game 3, it went into time, but he was going to die anyway because he was on like 1600 life points. I was thinking if there was any way for me to get big damage, and then it went into time on the 40-minute mark, and I just won because of that. Round 4 was against Drytrons. Drytrons was a pretty... Game 1, I just went full combo, stopping him from being able to play the game. He tried to play through my board, was unable to because I side-blocked him. Game 2, he bricked, so it was just unfortunate there, and I just went to win there. And then final round was against Sword Soul. That match was actually really interesting. Game 1, we had a very good game where it came down to a 50-50, where no matter what I really did, if I... Like, it came down to him having a Moyi and a Adhara in hand, and I didn't know he had the Moyi. So it was like, either I negate the Adhara to special summon with my Appaloosa that I had, or he just goes ahead and normals it and goes full combo with, like, well, 10 using Grave. And then game 2 was just, well, I got battered. I was scared of hand traps, and because of that I lost the game. But nonetheless, it was a very, very good match. All good games throughout the day, and it was very, very cool to just play Pendulum again and just have fun with it, because I really do love this deck and I really do enjoy this deck. But without further ado, let's actually show you guys the deck profile and tell you a few things that I kind of want to change, maybe add in to try differences there, here and there. But let's go ahead and get into it. So put that to the side and let's look at the deck. So starting off, we're playing 3 Skullcrab Joker. He is literally Stratos for the entire deck. He searches any Performapal or dies or Magician from your deck to your hand, so you want to be playing him at 3, because he's literally just normal summon, get a 1-card scale in the form of Monkey Board, because this card is literally once per turn while it's face up. You can go ahead and add any Performapal from your deck to your hand. So normally at times that in this deck, you're going to go activate Monkey Board, add Joker, or you're going to go Joker, add Monkey Board. And it's just like a back and forth. And this card being back at 1 really does help, just for the fact that it allows us to just do so many things, for the fact that we can just do whatever we want now and just make it so we can just win. And it's a very good deck and a very good thing about this. And Monkey Board coming back, yes, it doesn't make the deck super busted, but it allows 1-card scale, and that's what we really need in this deck to be able to do a lot more without, like, Electromite and stuff. So I'm very happy to see it back, and it does help. We also played 1 Pendulum Sorcerer. We only play 1. I only think you need 1 in the deck. Like, you're just going to keep Pendulum summoning back. There's so many ways to get to it through Beyond the Pendulum, Joker, Monkey Board, that you don't really need to play more than 1. So I feel like 1 is enough. And 1 Odd Ice Performapal for the Performapals we actually play. This is pretty much here just because we can go ahead and search off the Monkey Board, get a 6th scale, and then we can turn our Performapals into tuners. And that can come up quite a bit, being that you want to go into Hauki Firebrags at times. So if you don't have the Harmonizing Magician, you go ahead and get this, go ahead and turn them into a tuner, and then go into a Synchro play. You can go ahead and make your Boral Savage thanks to this. You can go ahead and make Baroness at times thanks to this. Like, this has a lot of utility in the deck, and it's actually very good at one. So I play one of it just because it turns things into tuners. That's all the Performapals though. Into Magicians, we play a lot of 2-ofs actually, because we play 2 Harmonizing Magician, we play 2 Double Iris Magician, we play 2 Wisdom Eye Magician, we play 2 Oath Dragon Magician, and then we just play 1 Poison, 1 Black Fang, 1 Celestial, and 1 Dragon Pit. Now, the reason behind this is that we only really need 2. This 2 Harmonizing. 2 Harmonizing is more than enough to go ahead and go into your full combo at times. You just need to search it through your Pendulum Call or your Star Pendulum Graph or through the Beyond the Pendulum, so you don't necessarily need to play more than 2 now. 2 Double Iris is kind of like the same, but you're only having it there to either pop, so you can go ahead and get to a Time Pendulum Graph or a Star Pendulum Graph, and it's just a higher scale as well for that reason. 2 Wisdom Eye because, well, you're not always going to have a Magician in the scale, and you play 2 of it just for the fact that it's just a free scale into any of these, so it's a high and a low scale technically. And I like the fact that at times you can discard it to turn Monkey Board into a scale 1 again, because it does augment its scale if you don't have a Performapal, so this card can do that. 2 Oath Dragon because it's recyclability, you can summon it off the Harmonized Magician to make Baroness, just very good there. And then 1 Poison, 1 Black Fang, and 1 Celestial, and 1 Dragon Pit, because these are the weakest ones I'd say to have in the deck, because they don't really give you any advantage for the fact that Purple Poison, yes, can destroy a card, but that's what it does, and it boosts your attack, so you're not really going to want to have that unless you want to kill something. Black Fang's just a constant revive, so you're only going to have him to constantly revive your other Magicians. That's what he's there for, so you only play 1 of him. 1 Celestial Magician, you only need 1 of him, because every turn you Pendulum summon him, you control another Pendulum, and then you're just going to, at the end of the turn, search a Pendulum. Yeah, he has other cool gimmicks as well. If you control a Synchro, your opponent can't activate monster effects that turn. Xyz, he goes up by like 1500 attack, and stuff like that, but you only need to play 1 of him, and then 1 Dragon Pit just because I don't want to lose to mine. It's simple there, and also you're going to send him off your Magician's Souls a lot of the time, just so you can have him summoned back and then use him to make Boral Savage later on. Like, all of these have a purpose, and we're playing them this ratio because I feel like you just need a load of 2-ofs. You don't need to play a lot of 3-ofs because you're just going to be searching everything regardless. So yeah, like I honestly think this is a fine lineup for the Magicians. Triple Chronograph Sorcerer and 1 Time Gazer Magician. This is pretty much here just because you can destroy the Chronograph, and then especially in the Time Gazer to go into your Beyond the Pendulum. Beyond the Pendulum is your typical first turn play you want to make, and you want as many free special summons in this deck as possible. And because of that, I've actually been debating cutting this and putting Curtain Raiser in at free, because yes, if you control a monster, you can't summon Curtain Raiser, but he's going to be your first card that you summon the majority of the time. And the reason that we're playing this is just to summon Beyond the Pendulum, and Beyond the Pendulum is just there so you can go ahead and search more. So I feel like the fact that Curtain Raiser is a level 4, it's a free special summon, and this just adds a brick in the form of Time Gazer, and then you have to actually play the Chronograph Sorcerers. I might swap these out for the Curtain Raiser just to have that additional consistency, and allow me to put 1 more card in, maybe like an instant fusion, just so we can have that as well. So just little things there as well that I wanted to mention because it can come up, but these are still very strong. Being able to destroy the Chronograph to special summon the Time Gazer from deck is really nice. You can use this as Ash Bait as well, which is also pretty good. Like, there's a lot of different reasons why this is good, but it's just, I kind of just want to cut it for the Curtain Raisers, try that out. But this is still good. It's just a free special summon. Like, you play things as free special summons to go ahead and like summon Beyond the Pendulum before your actual Pendulum summon. That's the whole point of the deck now. You go Beyond the Pendulum, and then you go the rest of your plays. We also play 3 Magician's Souls because it's just an additional free summon. As we were saying before, we want free special summons to allow us to go into Beyond the Pendulum. So this is there for that. And it can also just discard duplicate spells, I guess, if we do draw any, so we can get a free draw and replace it with another card. And then 2 Tuning Magician. This is the card that we're also summoning off Hauki Firebrags, because we can special summon it back from the graveyard with our Celine, and we can also just go ahead and special summon it from our hand or our graveyard if we control 2 Pendulum Magicians. So the card has good utility there, where it's just a free special summon, and it's also just pretty decent overall because of that, because we can just go ahead and special summon it back, we can go ahead and use it to go into other plays, and the fact that it's a monster that goes to graveyard means that we're always able to summon it back with the Celine. The only issue with this card, which I really don't like, is the fact that, oh yeah, every time you summon it, you're losing 400 life points and your opponent's gaining 400 life points. So it does go against like the Time Fury to an extent, but like it's still not the best. But it's still, well, it's not the best card, but it's still a very good card to just summon it back, go into Celine, and just, hell, even at times, you summon the Dragon Pit from your grave if you made Selene and you used it to use souls to send it to graveyard, and then you just summon this back because you have 2 Magician Scales, then you make a Brawl Savage on top of that. So, like, there's a lot of utility with this card, but I don't know if I really want to continue playing it. I might try changing it for something like a Plague Spreader or something, I don't know, but the fact that it's just a free summon is kind of good as well. So it's just like, it's kind of a good thing, but it's also kind of a bad thing as well when you think about it. And then the last monster is Scythe. What am I telling you? Konami should have banned it. Like, Scythe is insane, and the fact that they didn't ban it still, I'm gonna still Scythe lock. I can do that in Magicians very easily, so we play the Scythe lock. And then going on to spells, we play 3 Pendulum Call, discard a card, so it's 2 Pendulum Magician's card is insane and also protects them from being destroyed until the end of your opponent's next turn. This card generally won me games for the fact that my opponents played Twin Twisters, Harpy's Feather Dusters, stuff like that. Like, this card just came in clutch and is very, very strong. 3 Duelist Alliance to search any card that lists Pendulum if you control scale, so we search the Pendulum Call, we can search the 2-time Pendulum Graph we're playing, we can search Double Iris Magician, we can search the Pendulum Sorcerer. Like, Duelist Alliance is very strong, so we play 3 of it, and then we also play obviously the 2 Star Pendulum Graph, as I just said, because pretty much whenever a Magician leaves the field, you search, and this can prevent things from targeting you with spells. So it's just a very, very decent card where it gives you free search ability, and it also gives you the ability to protect from targeting spell effects, such as like Sky Striker's Widow Anchor and things along those lines. So the card is very nice, and it's just a free consistency card. Like, don't get me wrong, if you've used it already, you're going to send it to graveyard with Magician's Souls, but hey, if you're sending it to graveyard with Magician's Souls, that's always a free card after you've already got a free search. We also play 2 Pot of Desires and 1 Upstart. I don't know if I want to keep playing Pot of Desires because I felt like every time I activated it, yes, it gave me an additional card, but also I think I would have a lot of the time preferred those cards in the deck just so we could have the, well, consistency there and keep cards in there to summon from the deck, but nonetheless, it's there. We play the Upstart for obviously 39 cards. That's the whole point of that card there. And then last card we play in the main is 1-time Pendulum Graph. This is literally a very insane card where you can target 1 Magician card you control and 1 card your opponent controls, destroy them, and if one of them is not destroyed, then you can send 1 card on the board to the graveyard. So this is pretty much just a free destruction. It can remove 2 things if you've activated Time Pendulum Call, and it's just a very, very strong card overall. So it's a card that can be very helpful in the Pendulum deck, especially this one, which I like. And the fact that we got multiple irises means that we can search it very easy too if we just have the iris and the Pendulum Sorcerer, because that means we search not only a Skullcrobat Joker or a Monkey Board, but we also search that, which will allow us to go further beyond. So yeah, that's the main deck. Honestly, I'm kind of happy with the main deck. There's a few things, as I said, I might change. Like, I might take out the Pot of Desires, maybe try something else like Allure, because it's like we're not banishing our 10 cards from our deck. I kind of want to change the Chronographs and the Time Gazer for Curtain Raisers, as I said. But like, outside of that, I think the deck performed very well, and I really do like this list. Just there's maybe a few things I would personally change for myself for next time I play this deck, if I do play it another next time. But going on to the extra deck though, we played 1 IP Master Arena. I'm going to cut it. 1 Beyond the Pendulum. This card was absolutely insane. Like, honestly, every time we summoned this and it didn't get hand trapped, was just nuts. Like, for the fact of the matter that you just special summon this card, well, you link summon this card, and you get to pay 1200 life points, search any Pendulum from your deck, is really, really insane. And sure, you do get skill drain for all of your Pendulum monsters in your Pendulum zone and on your field, but I think that's fine, because as soon as you Pendulum summon, that goes away, and like, if you're Pendulum summoning straight after you make this card anyway, so it's not that big a deal. And the card was very insane because of that. 1 Dagda for Scythe Lock, 1 Hulk to go ahead and help the Scythe Lock, / go into Selene, Access Code Talker, all of that nice stuff. 1 Dark to go ahead and steal our opponent's cards. Dark is very strong and very, very nice. 1 Selene, I want to play 2 of it, so I'll probably cut like the IP or something for it. 1 Nightmare Unicorn, I'm cutting this card. 1 Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess, like, it's Appaloosa, the card is insane, you're going to be playing in any Pendulum deck, so we play it in the Pendulum deck. 1 Access Code Talker, it helps us OTK, it helps us remove boards, it just does a lot, like, the card is really insane. 1 Dweller, don't know if I want to keep it in the deck, but we might. It's pretty much just there for graveyard-based decks. 1 Tornado Dragon, this can also help us Scythe Lock. Like, if we want to Scythe Lock in the standby phase, like, we play the Hulk to go ahead and summon the TG Magician, this one, the TG Wonder Magician, but we also play Tornado Dragon just in case, because being able to Scythe in the standby phase is a lot better than being able to Scythe in the main phase, because, well, if we Hulk in the main phase to go ahead and banish the Hulk, then we have to rely on our opponent not opening something that could stop us. So if our opponent is playing Branded, for instance, they hard open Branded Fusion, and then they go turn main phase 1, activate Branded Fusion, the Scythe isn't really going to do a lot because it has to wait for your opponent, and your opponent's already going to have a Mirror Jade by the time the Scythe actually gets the ability to negate. So yeah, just like small things like that, which is why I play the Tornado Dragon. It's just there for that reason alone. But yeah, the 1 TG Wonder Magician, this helps us make Baroness during our opponent's turn. This card allows us to pop our Scythe, like it's there purely for that, and we banish it, summon it with Hulk. 1 Ignis to Prominence, this was supposed to be a FA Dawn Dragster, but I couldn't find my one, so I just put this in, and I didn't summon it. But if it ever came up, it would have been great because it's just free removal, so it's there for that basically. 1 Boral Savage, it's an Omni Negate, so you play it, and then the 1 Baroness, because it's an Omni Negate that can help me scythe my opponent twice. So we just go ahead and summon this, have the Omni Negate, after going ahead putting Scythe in the graveyard, then during our opponent's next turn we return Baron to the extra deck, and then we scythe them again from putting the Scythe in the graveyard. Like, this card is very strong and very, very nice. But yeah, that's the extra deck. Like, in the extra deck, I would change a few things. I'll probably cut the Ignista, maybe the Nightmare Unicorn and the IP. Put in like Supreme King Dark Rebellion. We would probably put in a second Selene, and I'll probably try to figure out one more card to change in. Maybe try Instant Fusion as well as an additional summoning source, and we can play that new Pendulum Fusion because that makes it easier to make Beyond the Pendulum at times as well. Like, that's all I'd really change about this right now. I'd have to think a bit more about it to see if there's anything else I would want to change, but that's kind of like my thoughts right now about things I would want to change. And then just for side deck, because of it's the portion of the deck profile that just like it can be anything you want. We played Free Drawn Lockbird. This is just for like Flunderies. This is just for like Branded at times. Like, this is just for anything that searches a lot, so we played it at free Lancia. This is just also for like decks that have just like banish a lot. So we wanted, like, to be honest, the reason why we're siding hand traps in a Pendulum deck is because we just want things that have high impact. So we play 3 of them, and they hopefully have high impact to stop our opponent from winning the game. 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, because just clear back row and I don't have my Lightning Storms, so we're going to be playing 1 Duster. 1 Terraforming and 3 Secret Village. I don't want you playing the game, and if you don't play a Spellcaster, you kind of lose, because if you're playing Branded, can't use any of your spells. If you're playing Sky Striker, can't use any of your spells. Like, Secret Village is a very, very strong card, and we're playing 4 copies of it, so our opponent is very unlikely to actually be able to play the game if we go first and draw this. For traps, we played 1 Red Reboot. Any back row deck will die to this card. And then 3 Evenly Matched, because it's evenly matched. The card literally says clear boards, and for when we're in a format where it's just like you're only really putting up 1 negate right now because we're not too sure what the format is, I thought Evenly would be very strong, and seeing as we don't have our Lightning Storms, as I said, this card just came in clutch and was very, very nice when we actually got to resolve it. But yeah, that's the entire deck profile, guys. Like, honestly, I really am happy with how I did with Pendulums after not playing them properly for such a long time, and being able to see that Pendulums are just back, and we're able to play like Beyond the Pendulum thanks to Defo, and we're also able to play Monkey Board again. It just brings me so much joy to be able to be back in a position where I can play Pendulums and be like, yes, this is a decent deck now, you can play it, it's really, really fun. And do I need to make some changes to this? Yes, I do. I think there is a few things I've already mentioned, but I don't know. We'll see what we can do with it, but hopefully you did enjoy this video, guys. Hopefully you did like this version of my Pendulum Magician, Pepe, Performapal Magician, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, guys, that's all I have to say for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you did enjoy. Robot1 signing out. Pendulums are back, baby, and as Triff said, Pendulum best deck!